Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, just when you thought gardening season was over for the year, it's time to start all over again.
We are going to be doing some winter planting here in the greenhouse. Things that will grow just fine, even in an unheated greenhouse like ours. Things like lettuce, turnips, rutabagas, bok choy. That's pretty much what we're going to be planting today, but there are some things that we need to do first.
Right. Now, for those of you who may not watch all of our videos and aren't familiar with our greenhouse is a 20-foot by 60-foot greenhouse. We got this from Grower Solutions. You can check them out at growersolutions.com. And we always grow in what are called Crystalix tubs here in our greenhouse. These are used mineral tubs from cattle, protein tubs from cattle. And when the cattle are done with them, you're left with these black empty tubs. They have worked out so well for growing in. And so today over winter, we're only going to be planting half the greenhouse. That's 36 of these tubs full of food for the winter, and that is plenty for us over winter.
Now, in these buckets, the growing medium that we typically grow in is half compost, half potting soil. Over the growing season this summer, they kind of settled, and you can see that a lot of these buckets are quite low. They were filled up to the top at the beginning of the planting season in the spring. So one of the things that we need to do today is to fill these back up.
If you saw the video that we did about a month or so ago where we set up all of our new raised beds for next year's outdoor growing, you also saw that we received a big bulk order of organic compost. We used all of it that we needed for the outside garden area, and we have a lot of it left. So that's what we're going to be adding to these buckets today. Eventually we will do the other half of the greenhouse as well, so that we have that ready for next spring. But for today, we're just going to focus on the half that we're actually going to be planting in. So let's take a walk outside. That big pile of compost is actually just outside the greenhouse. Let's go take a look at that, and then we can get busy actually filling these buckets back up so we can start planting. So this is what's left of the compost that we got delivered here about a month or so ago. It's just been sitting here. Now, when we had this delivered and we were filling up our raised beds out in the garden, we shared with you guys that we thought this compost was still hot, which means it's still composting down, and that if we were to plant directly in this, it could potentially burn the roots of our plants. But because we're just going to be mixing this into what's already there, that shouldn't be an issue at all. It shouldn't be detrimental at all to the plants or the seeds that we're going to be planting today.
Now, because we know we'll get a lot of questions about where this compost came from, it came from a local company called Hanson's Tree Service. It is organic, and we're really happy about that. And we were able to get a big dump truck load dumped here as long as we brought in how many?
It was 25 yards.
25 yards.
And they have locations all over the state of Missouri, and I think maybe even part of northern Arkansas. So go back and watch the video where we got this delivered. All of their information is there. We're not like affiliated with them in any way, but it is a great resource for organic compost.
Right, and we have been using them for actually several years. We'd be able to take our trailer, they'd just dump it into our trailer, and we'd be able to bring it back and shovel it out. But because we needed just so much this time, we just decided to have them deliver. Anyway, we are going to start filling up our buckets. We're each going to fill up 5-gallon buckets, take it in, top off all the buckets that we're going to be using, and then we can get started planting. is done with. Now we get to the fun part. This is my favorite part of gardening, is actually planting. Well, maybe harvesting is just as fun, I'm not sure, but I do love planting, getting my hands dirty. So we're just gonna go over really quickly what we're gonna be planting in all of these buckets, and then we will start actually planting seeds. So over the winter, Kevin and I absolutely love to have salads for lunch. So we eat a lot of lettuce. We actually don't even really eat salads in the summer, which seems probably kind of weird because that's when everybody's growing. But because it's so hot, lettuce doesn't grow very well here in the summer, and we are so busy eating all the other produce that we have coming out of the garden. So to be able to eat fresh lettuce from our greenhouse all winter long is just such a treat, and we absolutely love having that fresh homegrown veggies, lettuce all winter long. So I'm going to go over just really quickly the varieties that we're going to be growing, not just lettuce, but of everything as we go through, and I'll let you know how many buckets of each we are going to be planting. Now, Kevin and I really enjoy red lettuces. So this year we are planting more varieties of red lettuce than green lettuce, and we're also going to be harvesting all of this as leaf lettuce rather than waiting for them to get like individual heads, because they kind of serve as like cut and come again kinds of plants. So the first two buckets, we're going to be planting 10 buckets of lettuce all together. Now, all of the seeds that we're going to be planting today are from migardener.com. We absolutely love their seeds. They're a great company, super nice people out of Michigan. We actually have a discount code with them also, LTH10, to get 10% off of your order. And you guys, all of their 2024 seeds are in, so you can go ahead and start buying seeds now for next growing season. Get them before they run out. Okay, so these first two buckets are going to be a lettuce called Super Red Romaine. A fabulous red romaine. Even though you can grow them as a head, we will be harvesting them as a leaf lettuce. The next two buckets will be ruby red leaf lettuce. Again, another red that we absolutely love. And the next two buckets will be La Rosa. That's a red lettuce as well. Moving on, these next four are going to be green leaf lettuce. The first one is black seeded Simpson lettuce. And the last bucket of the green leaf lettuce will be tango leaf lettuce. Now, you know that we are eating a keto diet, keto lifestyle, and greens other than lettuce. Like greens are another thing that we can eat quite a bit of. And so over this winter, we are going to be growing quite a bit of bok choy. Now, there's only one variety that we're going to be growing, but we're going to be growing 6 buckets of it. The variety that MI Gardener has that we are trying this year is called Bok Choy White Stem. And we are excited to be able to grow that. We'll probably do it, I haven't decided whether we're going to harvest the entire plant at once or do kind of cut and come again. You can treat the bok choy the same. After that, you guys, the rest of this row here, which is a lot of buckets, are going to be divided in half. Half will be turnips, half will be rutabagas. Both of those root vegetables are fantastic for keto eating because they're low in carbohydrates and they're really high in fiber, so they kind of cancel each other out. The turnips will grow faster than the rutabagas, but the rutabagas will get bigger. So all in all, it's going to be wonderful. The turnip that we're going to be planting is purple white globe turnip, and the rutabaga is the purple top, the American purple top rutabaga. It's hard to keep those straight. Now, in our eating, I just want to let you know that we use turnips and rutabagas as a potato substitute. We oftentimes will dice that up and add them into stews like beef stew and things like that. You can add turnips or rutabagas as a substitute. We also turn them into kind of like baked fries or oven fries, and they're so good. So I don't remember how many total buckets we're going to have of those, but it's going to be a lot, and we're excited. And along with the bok choy, we can use the greens of the turnips and the rutabagas as a cooked green as well, kind of like collards. So we're excited to have a bunch of fresh greens and fresh lettuce over the winter. So let's get started planting. Okay, we're going to start off by planting all of the lettuces, and all the lettuces are planted the same exact way. Now, I plant lettuce like this that we're going to be harvesting as leaf lettuce. I plant it pretty intensively, so I don't worry too much about spacing. I really just take a pinch of the lettuce seeds in my fingers, and I hold it above the soil, maybe 12 inches or so, and I just move my fingers back and forth to kind of distribute the seeds kind of evenly over the soil. I'm not going to go overboard, but I do really want a lot of plants in this bucket. So that was probably 2 nice sized pinches of those seeds. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to lightly rake over the soil level. It's really just going to push those seeds just barely under the surface of the soil. Lettuce seeds need some light to germinate, so you don't want to cover them completely, but just enough so they can make contact with the soil and stay moist. And to help them stay in contact with the soil, I'm just going to lightly pat them down on top of the soil. And that is as easy as it gets for planting lettuce seeds. So Kevin and I are going to work together and plant all the rest of the lettuce seeds, and then we'll move on to what's next. Next up, we are going to plant bok choy. Actually, from the seeds from my gardener that we're planting are a pak choy. So I don't know the difference between a pak choy and a bok choy, but that's what they have, and we're going to plant it. And I also don't really know exactly how big these are going to be. So I'm going to plan for them to end up being kind of a medium size. And so I'm going to end up planting 5 in this bucket. So 1 kind of on each, I would say corner, but a circle doesn't have a corner, and then 1 in the middle. These seeds are pretty tiny, and so you really only need them about a 1/2 inch underneath the soil. So I'm just going to make a little indentation here with my finger, and then put a couple seeds just to ensure germination down in there and cover them up just really lightly. Okay, on to the turnips and the rutabagas. Now, turnips and rutabagas are going to be planted the exact same way, except there will be more space in between the seeds for the rutabagas because they're bigger than the turnips. So the turnips I'm going to plant about 4 inches apart in a row, and the rutabagas will be about 6 inches apart. Now, Kevin and I have decided that for the rutabagas and turnips, we're only going to plant around the edges here and not in the middle, because our irrigation emitters like this, well, that one's broken a little bit, our irrigation emitters will go in the middle like this, and we don't want to risk planting in the middle and that obstructing the spray over here. So we're just going to plant around the edge like that. So like I said, every 4 inches. Now I'm going to do the same thing that I did before and put a hole in there that's about a 1/2 inch down. Those seeds are going to go about 1/2 inch into the soil. And I'm going to, again, put 2 of them in there, and then if both of them germinate, we'll just take 1 away. So 2 in each. Or so. And then I'm just going to go back and just gently cover those seeds up. And move on to the next bucket. I'm going to do this side for the turnips. Kevin's going to do that side for the rutabagas.
All of the seeds have been planted. It's always a little
It
underwhelming
is.
when you do an entire day of work and it basically looks the same as it did when you started. But we know that in just a matter of a couple weeks, all of this stuff will be coming up and that we will have awesome food all winter long.
We are so excited to see those first seeds germinate, and all of these can germinate even if it's kind of on the cool side
Right.
outside here, and we'll do really well in this unheated greenhouse. We're excited to get some food from there. We had a nice little break from harvesting from the summer garden and stuff, but we're just kind of getting the itch, and we're so excited
Right.
that this is planted again.
Now, we told you guys about the crazy weather that we've been having. Last week, we had a couple days in the low 20s, even in the high teens. Then, the beginning of this week, it got back up to 85 degrees.
Yep.
Yesterday was still in the low 80s. And today, the high is barely 50. So, guys, it has just been crazy. But that is perfect weather. Now, in the 50s is going to be perfect weather for all of this lettuce and everything else to germinate and to grow.
You guys, we're so excited that you came along with us today to fill up these buckets and plant some winter veggies. We hope that you enjoyed that. If you guys are enjoying videos like this, we'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. And remember that the best way you can help us here on the homestead is just to share our videos on your social media. Oh, one more reminder, if you are interested in looking at MR Gardener, their seeds, the link for that is in our video description.
Right. So, you guys, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead today. Take care, and God bless.
God bless.